take a look at the Contraptions collection for Nintendo Switch. It's rated E for everyone, and it is single player, not multiplayer. The game includes Contraptions 1, 2, and 3, so technically it's 3 separate games, but we'll get into that. The reason I picked this up was because I'm old enough to remember a game from the 90s called The Incredible Machine. And that was a great series. It had a number of different games in it. 1 or 2 of the later titles even used the word contraptions. So I thought maybe there's some connection here, maybe not. But I'm looking for a puzzle game, two-dimensional, sort of engineering-inspired puzzler. I really liked The Incredible Machine, so I figured whether or not this actually was connected to it, I would probably like this too. It follows a lot of the same gameplay styles, but with one key difference. The Incredible Machine typically didn't have you attacking anything. Sometimes you bump a cat off a table or something, but this one has space monsters that act effectively as targets, more or less, to bump off of the screen or to squash or explode or spin in circles until they disappear. It's a little weird. I'm not sure what kind of a story we're trying to tell here. And I was used to variety in the levels where the objective changed from time to time. The objective in every single one of these levels in Contraptions is exactly the same. Get the space monsters. As far as actual gameplay, you get a couple of different items that you can move around, and the majority of the level is static and it cannot move. You can turn objects even if you're not able to move them. You can rotate them. And you get to connect a lot of belts and pulleys and wheels and things. I got through a bunch of the early levels and the training levels that kind of give you a sense of how to use these various objects and what they do. And I was expecting some kind of development in gameplay. Unfortunately, that never really came. The levels didn't get that much more difficult the further I went in, and I even decided to skip way ahead and see if maybe the later levels were much harder. Spoiler, they weren't. Alright, so the fair objection here is that I'm a year-old man, and maybe these just aren't hard puzzles for me. So I did give this to my kids, and I let them try it out and see what they thought. They found the puzzles much more challenging. They enjoyed trying to decipher exactly how to get the anvil over to the space monster. They enjoyed figuring out how to get the lighter over to the, I don't know what those are, rocket ship missile things that are on a wheel? Something like that. To my kids, it was well done, it was novel, it was enjoyable, and it was something that they really liked playing. For me, I was wishing there was more polish. The physics could have been more polished, the audio could have been better. There was absolutely no voiced dialogue or instructions. There was not a lot of variety in what objectives I needed to do to complete a level. And many times I found really easy ways to cheese the objective and just simply bypass the entire puzzle by maybe dropping an object on something else. Or in this case, just untying the rope instead of using the laser. I did like that it could be operated as a touchscreen game. That did make it feel like a mobile game, and I don't know, maybe this was a mobile game. This is my first experience with it, was on Switch, but it did play well as a touchscreen game. After running a handful of levels, I saw the same objects repeat over and over and over, and I found myself really wishing that there was more variety in the objects, that there was some more different, new, interesting things that I could learn along the way. But after you learn the initial handful of objects, that's about all I got. It was a little odd too to have the highly cartoony things like that kangaroo and the camel sitting right next to a very industrial looking fan and some kind of a motor. A little bit of a mismatch considering we have backgrounds that are made of candy and ice cream and stuff like that. I'd say the overall feel of the game is pretty adequate. The game plays well enough. It looks good enough. It has tons of levels, but none of them were standouts for me. They were good enough levels. I played quite a few levels and thought to myself, yeah, that was decent. But I turned off the Switch and I can't remember a single one of them. That's alright, I had enough fun while I was playing it and thought to myself, yeah, I can do the review now. And then I remembered I only played Contraptions 1, and I got quite a far way into it. You can skip to the very last level if you want, so I saw what the last level was. I didn't bother completing every single puzzle. And so I thought, well, to be fair, I need to go check out Contraptions 2 and Contraptions 3. So let's see what they're like. I was looking forward to some new puzzles, some new objects, and oh, this looks very much like Contraptions 1. I mean, to my eye, I see little to nothing that's changed. Oof, I mean, the loading screen had a bunch of cool stuff. This was Contraptions 1. Wait a second, most of that stuff isn't in the game. Okay, Contraptions 2, same thing. Most of that isn't. Contraptions 3, there's a lot of cool stuff in this loading screen that's got to be in one of their levels. It's not in that one. It's not in this one. I spent a while clicking through a couple dozen levels here, and I couldn't find most of the stuff that was on the loading screens. Bummer, dude. I kind of feel catfished on that one. So no, I never found the parrot, the chainsaw, the piggy bank, the The Venus flytrap, the blimp, I mean, most of this stuff wasn't something that I could find. Now, I'm willing to admit that maybe somehow I missed it. Tell me in the comments if you found it and I didn't. But after jumping from level to level to level, I didn't find most of that stuff. In fact, if you show me a random level and say, can you guess, is this Contraptions 1, 2, or 3? I put my hands in the air and say, I have no idea. So what's the difference between the games? Different levels, I think. That's about as far as I could understand. Different game mechanics, different rules, no, just different levels. And if you really love the game just as it is, having all of these different levels may be a great thing to you. Maybe you get stumped on one puzzle and you just go on to the next one because you can do that and you have tons to choose from. Maybe you like the simplicity of having always the same objective. Cool. I mean, my kids sure didn't mind it. Maybe you're looking for an easy, cozy game that frankly has virtually no stakes, so you can just try and retry as much as you like. The levels are bite-sized and some of these are going to be finished in mere seconds. Keeps your attention because you've constantly got new puzzles coming for you to solve. And so I think to enjoy this game best, that's going to be the best way to approach it. Not comparing it to something else you've played like, unfortunately, I did, and instead just taking it at face value. It is indeed a value-priced game. This isn't priced like a AAA title. And no, you're not going to get AAA title gaming out of this. I feel I got what I paid for. And it entertains my kids well, and it kind of helped me relive some of these old 1990s The Incredible Machine sort of vibes. Could it have been better? Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. And if the gameplay I've shown you so far appeals to you, you'll probably like this game. Come in with the right expectations, and you won't be disappointed. You'll probably just be entertained. I think this game has earned an average rating in the genre, and that's because there's not a lot of competition. If there were better competition, that might put some downward pressure on the score. One more thought here. I took all this footage on the Nintendo Switch 2, so I know this game works well both on the Switch and Switch 2. Thanks for listening to my opinions on the Contraptions collection for Nintendo Switch. Hit that subscribe button so that you'll see my other Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 reviews, as well as all my other product reviews.